I think in the year 2008, the most important thing for people to remember in photography is that it's about commitment. What do I mean by commitment? In photography, there is a love of image, there is an enjoyment of photographing, there's the capturing of the moment, there's all these different things that people have talked about endlessly over the years. But there also is what I believe to be one of the most important things, and that's commitment to photography. I feel like I can say this with all authority because I've been utterly committed to photography since the first little Kodak camera I had when I was 8 years old. In this environment, media environment that we're in now, it's harder and harder for photographers to maintain commitment. The reason is because they don't have the sort of support they used to have. Now, more than ever, photographers are having to use their own personal commitment to cobble together projects that can mean something over long periods of time. There are obvious exceptions to this. Magazines like the National Geographic, like Time Magazine, the big publications that still do long-term projects and commit themselves over long periods of time to photographers. An example would be, for instance, at Time Magazine, Yuri Kozarov. He went to Iraq in 2002 before the Iraq War started for a 10-week assignment for Time Magazine. He's now been covering there for the entire time. In this time, September of 2008, he just returned from a 20th trip to Iraq, and his personal commitment has kept the story going on for him and for the magazine because his body of work now is inarguably a historical document about a very important conflict. Individual photographers perhaps can't relate to professional photographers' commitments if they're living and breathing photography every day. The enthusiast may say, but I have a whole life. I have a whole other life. It doesn't have to be every single second of your day that you're committing to photography, but it has to mean that in your heart you're committing to photography. That's what distinguishes really fantastic pictures from ordinary ones. That's what distinguishes memorable images from just postcard images. It's the heart of the photographer that's showing the images to their public. When you talk about commitment in photography, it's not only about the commitment of the photographer, it's also about the people in the industry to the photographers. The photographic workshop, Photography at the Summit, is a perfect example. 20 years of commitment, of bringing a place, a museum, a group of kick-butt instructors to a gorgeous, gorgeous place and try to teach people how to use their skill sets to create wonderful pictures.